Zora, first question to you. What was your first job in the movie and TV industry?
Ooh, I guess first official job. I used to do background for Orange is the New Black for a couple of seasons in 2015. So you can spot me in cafeteria scenes and kind of like where their bunks were. You can spot me in a lot of those scenes too, but that would definitely be like the first official I'm on a set and it's real.
Who were some of your early inspirations in your want to get into the entertainment industry?
um, hmm. I feel like I went through a bunch of different phases, I guess. Like I feel like I was very much on that Disney Channel train of like wanting to have my own series and then have a movie and then like randomly a music career at the same time. Um, and then I got really into Degrassi after that. It was like, oh my God, like I could do a hard hitting drama. um, and then somewhere in high school, I just kind of got more into dramedies. Like, I don't know, I got really into anything on HBO, really. Once I hit that point, I was like, I'm an adult and I have adult taste and I'm a real connoisseur of film and TV. And but yeah, it was just kind of a bunch of different things. But I think just growing up with a lot of television got me super interested in wanting to create.
Daphne Project. Daphne is an actress, social justice warrior, wreaks havoc on the production of the Baki in name of progress and her progress, right?
Right.
You co-wrote and co-directed it. What inspired this project?
So the Daphne character actually came out of some improvisation. Alec and I met each other in high school at LaGuardia, and we were sort of crafting this audition for our school's talent show. And the premise was a series of bad auditions. And through that process, the Daphne character was born. She's always been super over the top and had this very kind of unearned confidence. Like she thinks she's way more established than she actually is. And like I remember in one of the bits, there was something about the Kleenex Tissue Corporation. Like she's just always been very interested in sticking it to the man and in all the little ways she can find. But
One of the
I think after that, we were always kind of wondering where would Daphne be now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the more fascinating things is because the film very much is funny, but also has some serious moments within it. And I thought that I really enjoyed that balance that I really feel like is hard to come by. So how do you, in the writing room, how do you balance that?
Right. I feel like there were a lot of moments in our process where we were kind of questioning, like, is this too far? Is this too much to speak so directly about some of these microaggressions? But I feel like humor was our way to sort of navigate that and touch on things, but also pull back a little bit so that you can laugh. And then when you're done laughing, it's like, oh my God, like something like that has happened to me, or maybe I've made someone feel uncomfortable in a way that I didn't even realize. So it was important to sort of have that balance in the writing process of like, let's touch on this and then like pull back a little bit and come back to it in small ways.
So obviously you wear about 1,000 different hats for this film, right? Writer, director, star, producer. What was it like trying to balance all those things together?
An adventure. Because especially when we were shooting, I was also a grad student. So just like thousands of hats, like you said. I don't know. It felt like a fun challenge to see what it would be like to do all of those things. And I just feel like ultimately in the industry, I would like to do a little bit of everything. Um, so it felt like I was creating this opportunity to jump in and explore all of those different things. It was stressful, but I feel like our crew and our team is super talented and just like they're all good people. So I felt like I had a safe space to sort of play and do all of the things.
So I'm intrigued by the idea of how this was shot because you're shooting a film, but also at the same time, kind of that mockumentary style feel. Was there multiple cameras in use? How did you guys shoot that?
It's one camera. It was important to us to get all of those like zooms and kind of just like roving shots so that you felt like you were kind of traveling in the moment with these people, seeing things you probably shouldn't see, and like trying to capture the real moments. So it was an adventure, but I feel like because we started off with one DP and then he kind of had another project and passed the baton to our other DP, Carly, and we spoke to both of them a lot about the style and how we wanted to capture these moments and just like the awkwardness. I feel like what we were kind of aiming for was someone trying to make something really beautiful and poignant, but then like capturing all these other things and being left with that.
Yeah, I think another thing I want to touch on is the editing process. How hands-on were you with that process? Because to me, it's I think that the editing for me in this film is just as important as who was on the screen because of how you're shooting it. So take me behind that process as well.
So we had our initial editor that edited the first 25 minutes. We thought we're going to be a web series pilot. It was still very malleable. We weren't really sure what we wanted to do with it. So Diana Tay had edited that footage, and then Alana Rosen took over the rest of it, and so brilliantly had the idea for the chapters and including the text and all of that to just like give it a little more structure, since the rest of it was like so much was at play and kind of random, to be honest. So she was really brilliant in that way, and of trying to merge the text with the action and everything, and that coming together and picking up the takes that worked, and just really helping us structure the story in a way that we hadn't even thought of too. But yeah, it was definitely a collaborative process. I know that Alec had kind of sat with Alana for a lot of the work and was just seeing what tracked, and then like I would get a take of it, not a take, but a cut, and do my notes, and just a lot of back and forth and seeing what worked and what landed and what didn't. But yeah, it was very collaborative, and we're really grateful to Alana for getting the film, because I feel like, you know, editing can be very technical, but I feel like she also understood the creative process and the voice and what we were aiming for, and we're so grateful to her.
Absolutely. One of the things that I love to find out about when somebody works on a project, you're wearing so many different hats. You're going through regular life at the same time, and obviously, I'm sure you're working within the confines of a budget. What is something that you learned about yourself while working throughout this project?
I guess the importance of rest, which I feel like is something I'm still learning. Because I mean, we shot for very long days and then would have to be right back early in the morning, and it's kind of like finding those pockets of time of like, okay, I'm gonna work on my lines, or I'm gonna, rehearse the blocking for this, but then I'm also gonna go home and have dinner and like maybe watch an episode of something. Just that need for balance and taking care of yourself as a person, I feel like is something that really landed through the process.
My final question, obviously this last 2 years have been challenging on so many different levels. How, as a creator, did you find yourself staying creative?
It's a mixture. I feel like early in quarantine, because I was finishing up my MFA in writing, So I was basically working on my thesis for months. And then once I had graduated, I did take a bit of a breath. I was like, I don't want to work on something unless I'm like specifically called to do it. There were a lot of projects I was kind of doing before the pandemic hit and spreading myself kind of thin. And I feel like being able to prioritize things a little bit differently was how I navigated that. It's like, here's a list of what I'm passionate about and what I want to get done. And here's some things I could maybe wait another time. Um, but I think just feeling a little bit more in control of my schedule and really listening to myself about what was calling out to me is how I stayed creative.